Um, Welcome to the deep dive. It is Thursday, February 26th, 2026. And, if you're looking at the calendar right now, the panic is already setting in.
Oh yeah. It's the air's getting thinner, the stakes are definitely getting higher.
Right, we are staring right down the barrel of championship week, and we're bringing you that classic bracket banter today, diving into the 16-team gauntlet down at Bridgestone Arena.
It really is the best kind of panic though. I mean, this is the time of year where careers are made or completely broken in just a single afternoon.
Exactly. And our mission for this deep dive is to decode that 16-team setup in Nashville. We really need to break down how the addition of Texas and Oklahoma, now that we're in year 2 of this era, has completely shifted the bubble watch math for the SEC.
Yeah, it's a completely different landscape than even 2 years ago.
It is. And we're also going to look at why the traditional powerhouses might be on upset alert in the quarterfinals, and how the double bye impacts the road to Selection Sunday.
Well, and for you listening, the context here is vital, right? The tournament runs from Wednesday, March 11th through Sunday, March 15th, and it's all happening at Bridgestone Arena, which effectively becomes the capital of the college basketball world for those 5 days.
I really love the atmosphere in Nashville. It's totally unique, but the pressure cooker this year just feels different.
Oh, absolutely.
And we have to mention the timing, because it adds this massive layer of anxiety to the whole weekend. The championship game is at 1:00 p.m. on Selection Sunday.
Right?
That is mere hours before the full bracket is revealed on CBS at 6:00 p.m.
Which is a complete nightmare for the coaches. I mean, you have teams playing for a trophy, but they might also be playing for their tournament lives right up until the final buzzer.
Yeah.
The selection committee is literally watching that game while they finalize the seed list. It's incredible pressure.
And the SEC is coming off what was, frankly, a ridiculous year. I mean, 2025 was historic.
14 teams.
Yes. They sent a record 14 teams to the NCAA tournament, and Florida cut down the nets as national champions. So the league is walking into Nashville with this massive target on its back.
They really are.
So the big question we're looking at today is, can they repeat that dominance? Or is this 16-team super conference format going to just cannibalize the league's chances?
That's the tension right there. You have a league that just proved it's the best in the country, but now the internal competition is so fierce they might just knock each other out before March Madness even officially starts.
Right. So let's get into the structure of this thing. Because with 16 teams, this isn't your standard bracket.
Not at all.
It is a fatigue factory. If you aren't one of the elite teams, the path to Sunday is just brutal. Unpack the daily schedule for us.
Well, it's designed to be brutal. The expansion to 16 teams created a very specific hierarchy. Sure, it's a single elimination bracket, but not all seeds are created equal.
Right.
We start on Wednesday, March 11th. That's the first round, and it involves seeds 9 through 16.
Which, in the old days meant the bottom feeders. But in this conference, the 9 seed is a legitimate tournament team. That's a decent squad playing for its life on a Wednesday afternoon.
That is the absolute danger zone. If you are playing on Wednesday, you essentially have to win 5 games in 5 days to take the title.
Wow.
And statistically, in a league this physical, that is bordering on impossible.
Yeah, you just run out of legs.
Exactly. Then you have Thursday, which is the second round, where Wednesday's winners play seeds 5 through 8. But the math changes completely when you look at the double bye.
Ah, the double bye.
Yeah.
It sounds like a luxury vacation package, but in this context, it's a weapon.
And a massive structural advantage. The sports brackets analysts point this out constantly. The top 4 seeds do not play until Friday in the quarterfinals.
Right.
They sit out Wednesday, they sit out Thursday, they are completely fresh. Meanwhile, the teams they're playing on Friday, usually seeds 7, 8, 9, or 10, they've already played at least 1, maybe 2 high-intensity games just to get there.
So if you're a bubble team, say you're the 8 or 9 seed, you're fighting for your tournament life against a team like Alabama or Tennessee that has literally been resting at the hotel for 3 days just watching film on you.
Precisely. It's a rich get richer scenario. If you compare it to the Big Ten, who are up in Chicago playing with 18 teams, the SEC format is uniquely punishing for mid-tier teams.
Definitely.
The top dogs, like Alabama, Tennessee, Florida, they are gunning for those top 4 spots specifically so they can let their opponents fight that fatigue battle before they even step on the court.
Well, speaking of the top dogs, we have to address the elephant in the room. The Florida Gators.
The defending champ.
Defending national champions. They beat Houston for the title in 2025.
Mm-hmm.
Media voters picked them to finish first again. But I have to push back on this favorite status just a bit.
Okay, let's hear it.
They lost their top 4 guards from that title team. I mean, that has to be a vulnerability, right?
Look, it's a huge risk. But look at what Coach Todd Golden has done to mitigate it. The reason they are still the favorites is the front court. They returned what is arguably the nation's fiercest front court.
They are massive.
You have Alex Condon, who is first-team All-SEC, and Thomas Hoff. These guys rebound, they protect the rim, and they dictate the pace.
Sure, I get that. But in March, guard play usually wins championships.
You're not wrong, and that's why all eyes are on the transfers. They brought in Boogie Flan from Arkansas and Xavier Lee from Princeton.
Xavier Lee is an interesting one.
He's fascinating. At Princeton, he had an incredibly high usage rate. The ball was in his hands constantly, making every single decision. But doing that in the Ivy League is one thing. Doing it against SEC defenders is a totally different animal.
Yeah, if those guards click, Florida has the size to repeat.
Yeah.
But if they struggle with the pressure, that front court might not even see the ball enough to matter.
Exactly.
So who else is trying to steal that double by?
Well, you have to look at Kentucky. This is Mark Pope's second year. The new coach honeymoon is officially over, and he's built a roster that fits his identity perfectly. Their key guy is Otega O.
Preseason SEC Player of the Year.
Right. And he's a nightmare matchup.
He really is. He's listed as a shooting guard, but he plays like a linebacker. He just physically bullies people out there.
He's a bruising guard and an elite defender. And Pope has surrounded him with depth transfers like Jalen Lowe from Pitt and Cam Williams from Tulane.
They're solid.
They are. But if you want to talk about new school versus old school, you have to look at Tennessee.
Rick Barnes, man, he's 71 years old. I think he just has a lifetime contract at this point. The man just keeps reloading.
He essentially does.
Yeah.
And the player to watch there is Nate Ahmet. He's a freshman, preseason freshman of the year, and NBA scouts are already drooling over him as a potential lottery pick.
Yeah, 6'10" wing with massive upside.
Exactly. And when you pair a talent like that with Felix Okpara, who is still one of the best rim protectors in the country, Tennessee has that classic Rick Barnes defensive identity, but with a new offensive spark that Ahmet provides.
And then there's Alabama. Nate Oates is still there, which means they're still shooting a million threes and running everyone out of the gym.
The system does not change.
Yeah.
Losing Mark Sears is a huge loss, obviously, but they brought in LeBaron Phelan and Aiden Holloway to fill that void. They are a legitimate Final Four contender again.
So you had this elite tier, Florida, Kentucky, Tennessee, Alabama, all just brutally fighting for those 4 Friday spots.
Yes.
Now, here is where the year 2 factor really kicks in. This deep dive is heavily focused on the Texas and Oklahoma era.
Right.
Last year was the adjustment period. This year, the gloves are off. And the way I see it, Texas and Oklahoma have effectively gentrified the middle of the conference.
That's a great way to put it.
They've taken up the real estate that used to belong to the mid-tier teams.
In the old SEC, you had your powerhouses, and then you had a relatively soft middle where teams could pick up crucial wins. Now, that middle is occupied by 2 of the biggest brands in college sports.
Right. They're taking up space in wins that used to belong to teams like Ole Miss or Missouri.
Let's look at Texas first. Sean Miller is the coach now, new face on the sideline.
Where do they stand right now?
They are living life on the absolute edge. FOX Sports projections list them as one of the last 4 ins.
Man, that is the most stressful place to be in late February. You're just living on the bubble.
It is. They have some talent. Jordan Pope and Tremont Mark returned, and they added Cam Hyde from Purdue. But they haven't locked anything up yet.
And what about Oklahoma?
Even more precarious. Porter Moser is coaching for his postseason life. FOX has them as the first 4 out.
Ouch.
They're relying heavily on Xavier Brown, a St. Joe's transfer, and Nigel Pack. But here is the real takeaway. Both of these schools, Texas and Oklahoma, are fighting for the exact same at-large bids that the traditional SEC bubble teams need.
That's the key point for you listening. If Texas and Oklahoma weren't in the league, those wins and those tournament spots might be going to an LSU or a Texas A&M.
Exactly.
Now it's a page match. The bubble is tighter because the neighborhood is just more expensive.
It's total overcrowding. And that leads us directly into the bubble watch. Last year, the SEC got 14 bids. That was insane.
Yeah.
It was a complete anomaly.
Right. And every source we're looking at says That is not happening again. 14 was unsustainable.
Correct. The consensus from analysts like Joe Lunardi at ESPN and Mike DeCourcy at FOX is that the number has to come down.
Makes sense.
DeCourcy projects 10 SEC teams, which would still tie the Big Ten for the most. Lunardi is a bit more conservative. He's projecting anywhere between 6 and 10 bids.
So who is sweating right now? If you're a fan of a team in that 7 to 12 seed range, who should you be worried about?
Well, Mississippi State is a fascinating case. They have Josh Hubbard.
The undersized flamethrower. I absolutely love watching him play.
He is incredible. He can score 30 points on any given night, but the team desperately needs wins to feel safe. They are right in the mix.
Okay, who else?
Then you have Ole Miss with Chris Beard. They have a great transfer in A.J. Storr from Wisconsin, plus Malik Dia. They are talented, but they've been inconsistent.
And we have to talk about Texas A&M. I saw the notes on Buckyball. For those who don't follow him closely, their coach is Bucky McMillan, and his style is pure chaos.
Pure chaos.
Full court press, shooting threes in transition, absolute blinding speed.
It's incredibly fun to watch, but it is super high variance. It's called Buckyball for a reason. They're listed as a possible tournament team, but they are squarely on the bubble.
Because of that high variance, right?
Right.
They're capable of beating a top seed or losing to the worst team in the league.
Exactly. And we should also mention LSU and Missouri.
Right. Matt McMahon has LSU in the conversation.
Mostly thanks to Dan Thomas Jr., who is just a fantastic guard. Missouri, however, is projected as a first 4 out alongside Oklahoma by FOX.
Even with Mark Mitchell.
Even with the Duke transfer, they are right on that razor-thin cut line.
Now, this is where the strategy gets really interesting. We're talking about all these teams, Texas, Oklahoma, Mississippi State, A&M, fighting for their lives. But there's a piece of data from the sources regarding the first 4 in Dayton that actually changes how we should view these bubble teams.
This is one of those counterintuitive things about March. Usually, you want to avoid the first 4 play-in games in Dayton at all costs. You want to be safely in the main draw.
Naturally.
But the historical data shows that teams who survive Dayton often carry that momentum right into the main bracket. Historically, at least one team from the first 4 advances to the round of 32.
So for the SEC teams playing on Wednesday in Nashville, those Texas, Oklahoma, Mississippi State types, if they don't win the SEC tournament but do just enough to get into Dayton, that isn't necessarily a death sentence.
Not at all. It's about survival. If you get into the field, even in Dayton, you have a legitimate shot. In fact, playing that extra game and getting a win under your belt can sometimes be better than sitting cold for a week.
Okay, I have to ask about this sleeper pick. I was reading through the source notes, and I actually did a double take. Usually when we talk sleepers, we're talking about a team with a .500 record getting hot at the right time. But the notes highlight Vanderbilt.
I know it sounds strange given their recent history, but this is the shocker of the season.
Vanderbilt? Really? The team that usually plays in a library?
Hey, they have really improved. Under Coach Mark Byington, they're being listed as a rising SEC unbeaten dark horse. That was the talk back in early January, and they've miraculously kept that momentum going.
That's wild.
Their odds to win it all have been steadily rising. They're in the plus 2,000 to plus 3,000 range right now. Byington has them playing a totally different brand of basketball.
So the data suggests they are legitimate.
It does. If there's a team that could disrupt that top 4 hierarchy we talked about earlier, maybe knock off a Tennessee or an Alabama in the quarterfinals, it might actually be the Commodores.
That would be the ultimate chaos scenario for this tournament. Okay, so we're heading to Nashville. We've got the structure, we've got the teams. But for you listening, who maybe hasn't watched every single SEC game this year, who are the guys that pass the eye test? Who are the stars we really need to watch during the broadcast?
If you want entertainment, pure and simple, you watch Josh Hubbard at Mississippi State. He is electric.
The flamethrower.
Yes. He's small, but he has unlimited range. If he gets hot in the second half, no lead is safe.
Those are the guys who ruin brackets in March.
Exactly. Now, for the NBA draft nerds, and I know you're out there listening, you have to watch Nate Ullman at Tennessee.
The 6'10" wing.
Right, with guard skills. You watch him to see what the future of professional basketball looks like.
For the pure toughness.
Otega Owa at Kentucky. It's two-way dominance. He changes the game on defense just as much as he does on offense.
Love that.
And finally, Boogie Fland at Florida. The entire question of can Florida repeat rests squarely on his shoulders. If he plays like a veteran, they win. If he plays like a transfer, trying to do too much, they could get upset early.
All right, let's recap the essentials for you. We are looking at Bridgestone Arena, Nashville, March 11th through the 15th. 16 teams.
The top 4 get the double bye to Friday. That is the golden ticket. Everyone else is just grinding gears to survive.
Texas and Oklahoma are crowding the bubble, putting massive pressure on Missouri, A&M, and Ole Miss. They are the reason the math is so incredibly tight this year.
And remember, Selection Sunday is March 15th. That's 6:00 p.m. Eastern on CBS. But the SEC championship game ends just hours before that, so the committee will be actively watching that game while finalizing the bracket.
Which is just wild to think about.
It is. And keep in mind, seeds matter, but upsets are inevitable. Never forget the 16-seed UMBC taking down Virginia. Anything can happen.
Absolutely. So one final provocative thought to leave you with. We talked about the record 14 teams last year. We talked about Florida winning the national title. With Texas and Oklahoma now fully integrated and fighting for their lives on the bubble, is the SEC actually better this year, even if they get fewer bids?
That's the million-dollar question. Here's the reality. The SEC might get fewer teams in this year, precisely because of this internal cannibalization. Texas and Oklahoma make the league harder, not easier.
Right.
But the team that survives this gauntlet, whether it's Florida, Kentucky, or even a sleeper like Vanderbilt, they aren't just winning the SEC. After surviving this, they have to be the favorite for the national title. It's iron sharpening iron.
Or it's a meat grinder, leaving everyone exhausted for the big dance.
We'll find out in Nashville.
We certainly will. Make sure you are ready for the chaos. You can download the printable 2026 SEC Tournament Bracket and the blank March Madness template over at sportsbrackets.net to get your pools ready. Because if this season has been any indication, your bracket is going to be busted by Thursday afternoon anyway.
It's basically guaranteed.
Thanks for diving in with us. We'll see you for the next one.